Let's move into the footy tips for week 1 of the AFL season. Well, round 1 of it.
The official round 1.
The official round 1. So, last week I got 1 tip. Very disappointed in myself. I didn't pick my Swans, and I didn't pick the Giants to win either. I should have picked the Swans, I'll say that. I did have the Swans as favourites, but I don't know, I just wavered on the midfield. But Isaac Heaney played really well to help out in the midfield, and you were able to get 3.
Yes, I was. I was very happy with that. I didn't believe the hype in Melbourne, and I believe the hype in the Giants.
So I'm very proud of you.
Yeah.
But guys, before we get into more of this video, BR Designs, our very own design company, is your one-stop shop for all your AFL prints. We have designs for every single team, from Collingwood to the Giants, so make sure to head down to the description below and find your desired AFL design. And don't worry, as every 6 to 8 weeks, guys, we're going to be releasing brand new and exciting designs for every single team. So make sure to keep an eye on the BR Design social pages, and make sure to use our unique features with our design of scanning the QR code will actually bring up on your phone the highlight that you have the design for. And don't forget at the checkout to use code YouTube for 10% off your purchase for the next 48 hours. So getting quick, guys, let's get back into it.
So let's move into our tips of round 1. So I'll go through them first. On the first game, I've picked Carlton over Richmond. I've picked Collingwood over the Swans, Essendon over Hawthorn, GWS over North Melbourne, Geelong over St Kilda, Gold Coast over the Crows, Melbourne over the Western Bulldogs, Port Adelaide over West Coast, and I've picked Brisbane over the Dockers. Let's have a look at your tips.
I've went with Carlton over Richmond, Collingwood over the Swans, Hawthorn over Essendon, the Giants over North Melbourne, Geelong over the Saints, the Crows over the Suns, Melbourne over the Bulldogs, Port over the Eagles, and Brisbane over the Dockers.
Alrighty, so we've got a couple of different ones. First thing I want to talk about actually is the Collingwood-Sydney game. This is a big game for both teams. Obviously, Sydney, if they're able to get 2 wins on the trot here, which on their probably their hardest games going into round 10, Sydney have a really good run after the first 2 rounds of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sydney have a bit of a chance here, I'm going to be honest. But I feel like my brain tells me that Collingwood, they're unveiling the flag. There's going to be 100,000 people at the MCG. First game of the year, really, first game of the year at the MCG for Collingwood. And after the poor performance they had against the Giants, I just feel like they're going to bounce back. Yeah. Is there a reason? Is that really kind of what you're going for the Collingwood game?
Yeah, they made it such a fortress, the MCG, Collingwood.
I mean, they play there every week anyway.
Yeah.
I think that's why they lost.
And to be honest, I just don't trust the forward line of the Swans. With the 3-prong forward line, at the moment it's not working. I know it's only one week, but...
Did you watch the Swans game?
Yeah, I watched it. So, Marty just couldn't find the ball.
Like I said in the review, though, it was incredibly terrible conditions.
Yeah, it was conditions. But I think that, like you said, Collingwood, they'll bounce back. It was just a hiccup, I think. That happened. Maybe a bit of slowness of starting late with winning the premiership. So I'm not taking too many concerns out of that game for them. The Swans, it's going to be interesting if they can back it up, but back it up again. But they also got the extra day off because that might also help.
Yeah, I think that's also very fair. We'll move on to talk about the next game. This is our first differential on the tipping this week. You've picked Hawthorn over Essendon. Now, Essendon on the official tipping footy app here, Essendon have been picked 80% to Hawthorn's 20%. Why have you gone Hawthorn here?
I don't know, to be honest. It's a big rivalry.
Expert commentary.
Yeah, it's a big rivalry between them two, and I don't know. I think just a bit of the youth. I think that from the Hawthorn, I think. I'm pretty much basing it on the Gold Coast in a way. That Gold Coast was sluggish in the pre-season, but they played pretty well against Richmond last week. I'm kind of doing the same thing with Hawthorn. They were a bit sluggish during pre-season. They had a few injuries, which hasn't helped, but I think they can beat Essendon, and I just don't know where Essendon are really at.
So this is like an interesting game for you, and you're going to be watching Essendon to see if they can live up to the hype of all these recruits coming into the team and that sort of stuff.
Because sometimes a recruit, if you bring in so many players, different players, that are they going to be able to gel in a way?
Okay.
And I just don't know if they can.
So the uncertainty maybe of Essendon's maybe got to you a bit. Okay. I've picked Essendon because I just think that they can, if they can match Hawthorn in the midfield, which I think is their strongest line, I think Essendon are going to be able to kick a winning score. I think that Hawthorn have been, I wouldn't say decimated by injuries down back, but they have missed quite a few. I think if Peter Wright can get on top, they can win up forward.
Yeah.
And I think Essendon just have a little bit. I think they're capable enough in their defensive 50 that they can hold up against Hawthorn's forward line. I think Jordan Ridley is a bit lost, so obviously got injured in the last pre-season game. So I think that's going to be interesting how they can perform down back. But for me, I think Essendon, I think if they can match Hawthorn in the midfield, they'll have a pretty cruisy day. And then the last game that we ticked differently was the Gold Coast versus the Crows. Now, I'm going to go first here. The reason why I picked the Gold Coast is because I think it is so unfair that a team that has had a game in hand get to play a game against a team who hasn't yet.
Yeah.
Now, I actually, even though the conditions of the opening round for most games was pretty hot, and you could say teams are going to tire here, and that maybe your reason, I don't know, but I'll ask you in a second. But I think having the extra run in the legs of like an AFL game is going to be so beneficial for these teams, the 8 teams, for the first couple of weeks of the season, before they get their buys again. And I think we saw last year when... this is a little bit different because the buys came through the middle of the year last year, obviously. But we did see most teams lost their games coming out of the bye.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be... I think it's pretty unfair. I think that's a big reason why I think the Gold Coast are going to go on and win. On the game itself, not looking at the bye, just leaving the bye out of it, I do think if the Gold Coast can get the ball up forward enough, they look very dangerous. We did see that against Richmond, that they found multiple ways to goal. So I think with the Crows, probably their weakest line is their defence. I think the Gold Coast, if they can win it in the middle, which they look strong in there against Richmond, if they can, if Rao, Anderson, Miller, Flanders, if they can dominate that, if they can just take the win in the midfield, I think they'll get it forward enough. And Ben King, Levi Casbolt, I think they can all get on the board and kick Jack Lukosius as well. I think they can dominate up forward. So that's kind of my reasoning behind it, outside of the bye, which I think is a huge aspect of this game.
Yeah.
But why have you picked the Crows?
Because they're one of the most potent forward lines in the comp.
Yeah.
And I just think that they need to be able to win away. And I think it will be a big statement if... Yes, it's the Gold Coast. We don't know where they are at. But they just need to get the first win away this season, just to get the monkey off the back.
Yeah.
And yes, the Gold Coast looked potent down forward in the first half of that game against Richmond, but then they conceded 6 goals in the third quarter.
Yeah.
So they do have that tendency still to do it, to leak a lot of goals, and against a potent Crows forward line, it's very difficult, I think, to stop that momentum that the Crows will bring.
Yeah.
And the defence, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be in the midfield. Like most games are, it's going to be done in the midfield. I think they only have to break even the Crows. With that forward line, they should be able to beat them.
Okay, that's fair enough. All good then. Looking at the tipping ladder for our league, obviously we didn't have an extra week with the tipping league. It started with opening round. Looking at it right now, I am in last spot. That is so embarrassing. So I think we said that it's going to be a lot easier for someone to win this league than the AFL Fantasy League in our opinions. I'm on bottom with one tip. The only game I got was the Gold Coast game, so yay me. You are located 7th, but you did get the 3 votes, and no one got 4. If someone got 4, they obviously hacked the system. Sure. No one would have got 4. Everyone in this league, in our league, only got 3. The current leader of the official Boundary Riders tipping league is the Fevolutionised named Johnny C. So congratulations, Johnny. You lead round 1. You won't get a prize for leading in round 1. Well, opening round, but we do give you a congratulations. Yeah. So good job to you, John. We are proud of you, and we love you. Maybe not that much. We'll lay off a bit, but good job for taking the lead in the top spot. And while we're talking about the tips as well, this week I am planning to stream the Gold Coast v Adelaide game. So Saturday night, I think it's going to be a good game. So that's the game I'm going to be streaming this week. So Gold Coast v Adelaide, top spot, Gold Coast Suns up against the Adelaide Crows. I think it's going to be a big game, actually. And yeah, that's basically what we've got for the tips this week, guys.